Hi guys, welcome to Bible Breakdown. We're doing Isaiah chapter 61. This chapter is titled Messiah's Jubilee. So this is a pretty short chapter. I only have 3 points for this chapter. For verses 1 to 3, I wrote the Messiah makes himself known and proclaims his purpose, which is salvation. So in verse 3 it says, to provide for those who mourn in Zion, to give them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, festive oil instead of mourning, and splendid clothes instead of despair. And they will be called righteous trees, planted by the Lord to glorify him. And then the verses before verse 3 just talked about how the Lord sent the Messiah to send this message. And the main thing that he's doing is healing the brokenhearted and basically setting them free from their despair. Now for verses 4 to 7, I wrote that it talks about what the people of God will do. So in verse 4, it talks about the people of God rebuilding what's ruined. Verse 5 and 6 talks about the people of God being set apart to serve the Lord. And then verse 7 talks about the people of God rejoicing for the blessings of God. Verse 4 mentions 3 different words. It says to rebuild, to restore, and then to renew. And then verse 5 and 6 highlights how the people that aren't of God are going to notice the people of God. And it mentions how they'll be called the Lord's priests. And then it continues and says, you will eat the wealth of the nations and you will boast in their riches. Then in verse 7, it talks about the blessing that they will receive will be a double portion, and then they will experience eternal joy. Then to end the chapter for verses 8 to 11, I wrote the covenant made by God is one that brings salvation, righteousness, and pure joy. So in verse 10, it says, I rejoice greatly in the Lord. I exult in my God, for he has clothed me with the garments of salvation and wrapped me in a robe of righteousness, as a groom wears a turban, and as a bride adorns herself with her jewels. When it comes to salvation, there's so much to look forward to, so we just got to make sure to stay focused on the Lord. With that being said, that's the end of this chapter. That is all I have for you guys, and I will see you tomorrow for Isaiah chapter 62. I love y'all. God loves y'all more. Have a great night.